Welcome to a beautiful event, Yoga for Parkinson's Disease. My name is Devi Mohan. I'm Global President of ACT Foundation. And I'm really happy to have our dear Kalpana with us today to share with you her experience, her wisdom in this area. So before we start with Kalpana, I just want to share a very brief intro about ACT, just to kind of set the tone. ACT Foundation is present globally since the year 2012. It started spreading, and it's really based on normal people who volunteer their time and energy for a greater cause. And it's all about transforming lives of receivers and givers alike. So we are dedicated to selfless service beyond all boundaries of race, religion, caste, even species, because we also support animal shelters and all living beings unconditionally. One of the main themes of ACT Foundation globally is empowerment. And I myself, I come with a background of war and refugee days, and I was touched once by people who just dedicated a couple of kind words or made a small donation. And it was that gesture of reaching out to someone who is very vulnerable in that vulnerable space. And in the time of COVID, we have been contemplating a bit, and we have realized that there are many people with different ailments who are now not able to reach out to their doctors, who don't get medical help on time because of priority being given to COVID patients. And our heart goes out to people with neurodegenerative diseases. So this was an initiative coming from that selfless service space of ACT. And we say in spirituality, like attracts alike. So Kalpana ji came into our world and she offered her expertise in this area. So for the first time ever, ACT Foundation hosts someone who will be supporting people with Parkinson's disease, and even other people with neurodegenerative diseases can benefit from this through the ancient science of yoga. So Kalpana, welcome, and please do share with us more about what you have in offer for people who would like to benefit from this initiative.
Sure, thank you, Devi, for this warm welcome, and I really commend you on this wonderful job that you do, and you've been a great source of inspiration for a lot of people. So thank you for really giving me this opportunity. It's something very close to my heart because I was given the opportunity of, as a yoga therapist, to spend time and teach people who were affected with Parkinson's. And thanks to my neurologist, who just had tremendous faith in me. And he said, I want you to join the board and I want you to start teaching. And this was way back when I was still training. And I was like so stunned, I said, you have that much faith in me? He said, yes, I'm going to put you on the board. So that's where my journey started with the Parkinson's Association in Houston. So, and I taught them for about 4 to 5 years. And I'll be very honest, I don't think I was the teacher. I was the student, because I learned so much from each of those participants. And talking about Parkinson's disease is one of the most common diseases in the neurodegenerative section, apart from multiple sclerosis, Alzheimer's, to name a few. So what really happens in Parkinson's disease is it's a progressive disease, and ultimately it comes to a disorder of movement. And this happens because there's a neurotransmitter called dopamine, which is actually also one of the happy neurotransmitters that our brain produces. So there is loss of dopamine cells, which is dopamine, there's destruction of neuronal cells that produce dopamine, which is responsible for sending messages to cells in the brain that tell us how to move. So loss of dopamine causes, actually what happens, it messes up the messages, and the person affected with Parkinson's really doesn't know how to move. I'm putting it in very simple and layman's terminology. So, and this part of the brain is the midbrain. So what happens is when there is loss of dopamine, the brain doesn't know how to send messages because of the destruction, and the body doesn't know how to move. And also, dopamine is responsible, it acts as a messenger between two brain parts that is responsible for sequencing of messages and the flow in of our movement. You know how when you walk and that flow. So when that flow is gone, so if you see the people who are affected with Parkinson's, they have what you call a shuffling. You know, they're not able to take proper steps. And that is where the sequencing or the flow of movement is completely lost in Parkinson's disease. And you'd be surprised that in most of, especially in Parkinson's, since we're talking about it, what is called the prodromal stage, Devi, which is actually the onset of the disease, which could start 20 years prior to it actually manifesting as a full-blown Parkinson's disease. And it could start simply with symptoms like constipation or anxiety. And you see, because we don't pay attention and then it goes on, and then finally after 20 years, it manifests. And the symptoms start from anywhere, rigidity. See, the Parkinson's itself doesn't cause rigidity, but what happens is because the body doesn't know how to move. The messages are disrupted. So the body doesn't know how to move, which part of the body and how it should move. So what happens is because of that, especially along the spine, there's a lot of rigidity. Then there's impaired balance. And these are some of the motor symptoms. And we also have the non-motor symptoms, which are like slurred speech, you know, lack of insomnia, loss of sleep, and having a very difficult time swallowing. So, and one of the main issues or the problems that caretakers or even the doctors who take care of Parkinson's, they face with is that people with Parkinson's fall a lot. Because what happens is, suppose there's a doorway and an entrance, the mind knows that the door is there and it wants to move forward, but the feet don't move. So there's a lot of shuffling. And if you see, they as it progresses, they have a stooped, gait. So the mind wants to go, but the feet don't take it. But when they go, they fall because the feet, there's no synchronicity. You know what I'm trying to say? So
Yeah.
there's a lot of accidents and there's a lot of injuries that happen because of that. So now going to, and some of the causes, let me talk a little about the causes, could be oxidative stress, inflammation, or even pesticide exposure. Genetics, they say, is about 15% contributes, to people getting Parkinson's because of genes. So it's only 15%. But it could also be prior injury, any kind of inflammation that has taken place, at least 20 years before. So
I was also thinking, I'm sorry, Kalpanji, to interrupt you. I was also thinking about our own thoughts and feelings and mindset. Very often people feel stuck. The founder of ACT, Mohanji, who is our great inspiration, he always says, just keep moving, we also say one positive act a day. We don't tell our people you have to build a mansion in a day. We just need that positive mindset to just make a small next step every day.
Yes.
And here's a loving invitation to all our viewers who may be at different stages of Parkinson's disease. Maybe there are some at the very beginning, some are at the progress stage, but all can benefit from this. But I feel, even that initial mindset, the way you choose to feel no matter what, and just to keep moving every day, make one small step.
Yes.
So what would be your opinion about this?
Absolutely, I agree with you, Devi. And you know, one of the yoga's best contribution, which I feel is such a divine blessing, is the awareness that yoga brings in. Because you see, as you know, Devi, with any kind of disease like this, even cancer or any condition, they haven't found a cure for Parkinson's. But what happens is depression, everything sets in slowly, slowly. There's so much anxiety. There is so much, and I can only speak from experience with my own participants. So when I used to talk to them, there was so much anxiety just the day before the doctor's visit because they didn't know what, and even prescription of medication. Now, the medication in the US that was prescribed to them was called levodopa, and levodopa came with tremendous side effects. They used to hallucinate, you know. So I know one of them, I won't take her name, and she had a lot of tremors. And, you know, 6 months I used to do a review, and I used to tell her, what is your most favorite thing? And she used to say, going to church, and the second best thing that has happened to me is ever since you came into my life to teach me yoga. I was like, oh, that's wonderful. And I said, what is it about yoga? She says, you know, now when I sit in the doctor's office, it takes away my anxiety. So how you never know how it touches and reaches people. And even if there isn't a cure, Devi, you know, your day-to-day functional work, you know, they learn how to exist. They learn how to deal with their whatever, you know, issues that come with the condition. And like I said, awareness is number one that yoga brings in. And here I'd like to add, Devi, any kind of movement disorder with any kind of neurodegenerative disease. So the practices that we have, though it's just like a little view, I mean, peek into it, they would be beneficial for anyone, you know? So, and then with the other benefits would be lesser perceived stress, or you know, improving stability, improving. They have a lot of impaired balance, so that's what yoga practices really help to do, is to improve their balance, and with the awareness, they're walking, they're sitting, getting up with awareness. And that's what I used to teach them. I introduce the breath into walking, like you know, you do with in the Emoji Foundation. You guys do, I think, conscious walking. So that's what it is. And what it does is it just keeps the awareness in the present without them or their minds wandering all over the place, and which could perhaps cause, you know, any kind of an accident. And then along with that, see, like I said, the other non-motor issues that they have is lack of sleep, or even you know, having difficulty eating. So the practices like meditation and yoga nidra and are really beneficial. And one of the I mean, I used to get teary-eyed when I used to do yoga nidra, is because I had a couple of them with a lot of tremors, and their tremors would stop. Even if it was for 2 or 3 minutes, Devi. I mean, for a person who is continuously in that state of tremors, can you imagine even for 2 minutes when it stops, what a relief it is. And when they came out of yoga nidra, they would always say that this is the best part of yoga. And I think it took away all the anxiety that and there was a lot of fear. There was uncertainty as to what is going to happen. They went through a lot of anxiety when they had to go to a doctor's visit, and if there was any change in medication. So in totality, all these aspects of yoga, bringing in asana and the pranayama, they learned, I used to tell them, whenever you get anxious, start doing the vertical breath, and it really helped them tremendously, you know. So, in their own way, whatever they could understand. And because I would always explain to them why we are doing this, why are we doing this pranayama? Why are we doing frontal passage? So, I mean, it was very, very joyful for me to be there. Like I said, there was so much. Each person was different, though they all came under one category of having Parkinson's disease, but each one was different. So each one really, there was so much that I learned from them. So it's very close to my heart because, like, the conscious walking helped many of them, walking with the breath. Inhale, take one step, exhale there, then take the next step, shift the weight. And so I'm sure that, Devi, this would really help and benefit a lot of people. Like you rightly said, that having access to a lot of things during the time of COVID is not easy. So I think this is a great job that you guys are doing, putting it all up together. And, I'm really happy to contribute in my own little way and bringing this yoga for Parkinson's. So thank you, Devi, for making me, Vidya, all of you, including me, in this very warm, heartfelt, what do I say, act of the ACT Foundation. So
Thank you so much. Now, really, it was sometimes, as souls in the body, when we offer ourselves and we don't even have a clear idea of how we want to do something, but we have that intention. Then out of that pure space, just the path opens up. And when I first heard about this yoga for Parkinson's, I just immediately had like this feeling of heart opening, and I knew that this was the type of empowerment that is needed, especially at this time. As I said, there's just so many people with this silent feeling of silent sinking and being neglected. So on behalf of ACT, we wanted to let you know there is somebody out there who truly cares. And we want to offer this to even people with other neurodegenerative diseases, to their caretakers,
absolutely.
to learn how to help these people, how to take those small steps. We all know anxiety is always about the future. And most people are not aware of the power of your concentrated movement with full awareness on those different parts of the body. People
Absolutely.
are flabbergasted when they first discover it. They're just like,
Yes.
how come I didn't know this before? So literally all the energy, attention, where the attention goes, the energy goes, all the energy goes within the aura, within the energy field, and there's more and more of energy. And then that extra energy brings in the healing in different parts of the body.
Absolutely.
And before we end, I just wanted you to talk a bit more about Yoga Nidra, the yogic sleep, or the ancient science of healing through the alpha state of mind, just as an intro to what's going to come, so that our viewers are aware of what we have in store for them. Because I personally love Yoga Nidra. It's so powerful and so amazing.
I know, I think I already told you, and let me tell you, it is because of yoga, for the Yoga Nidra for Parkinson's, that my partner literally pushed me into, and so did my doctor, the neurologist. He told me that there should be a lot of research done into this, because it was, I'm not exaggerating, Devi. I used to get teary-eyed seeing all my participants when their tremors stopped in Yoga Nidra. See, I used to, because, in the US, you have to be very careful. So and what happens when their bodies are totally relaxed, they would kind of go all, kind of get all floppy. So I had to be totally vigilant to make sure that there's no fall. I used to be sitting like this, on guard doing the Yoga Nidra. Yes, Devi, Yoga Nidra is so close to my heart, just as it is to yours, because I have seen personally my own change through this, through Yoga Nidra. And then people with Parkinson's, I think what happens with them is that they are the condition, like you said, we spoke of the fear, the anxiety, the uncertainty, that they're constantly in the external. And I think what was happening, why the tremors stopped, is when you take them in, you're completely cutting off the external stimuli. And it was at a certain stage, once I did, I pulled them from the external, I took them in. And the minute I started rotation of consciousness through the body parts, that's the time when the tremors would stop, because now they are from the outside, they've come inside, they're at the physical level before you move on into the more subtler level. So that's when the tremors would completely stop. And there was so much I would just do a 15-minute yoga nidra. And then when it was done, they would always, even the ones who didn't sleep, they would say, "Oh my God, this is better than how I feel in the morning when I get up." So how their minds, how relaxed they were. And Devi, you talked about caretakers. I had 14 participants, and most of them, except for one or two who were very young, their caretakers would come. They would come with their mats, and they would wait patiently. When are you doing the sleep thing? When are you doing the sleep thing? I want to do the sleep thing. And there's to be snoring. All the caretakers, most of them, I would say 85% of the caretakers participated, and they said it's so relaxing. So without getting too much into the intricacies, the important thing is for them for the nervous system. You see, when all the external stimuli is cut off, Devi, and the nervous system calms down, I guess that's the time when they are really able to, relax a little. So without taking up too much time, so I think, that was just a little brief into Yoga Nidra. I know everybody considers it's a tool, it's more a state of mind, but it's absolutely such a powerful, it takes you, I mean, of course, there has to be consistency, Devi, as you know, you do it yourself and you teach it. Nothing comes without regularity and consistency. Yeah, and it's close to my heart because I have seen my own transformation through Yoga Nidra. I can only share something, we can only share, Devi, when you experience it yourself.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. And it resonated with me because I have had numerous experiences, and also people who attended my Yoga Nidra sessions and yoga with the Yoga Nidra. So I'm very, very happy to support this with all my heart. Thank you once again, and a loving welcome to all our present and future viewers, because I feel this will be a jewel that we offer unconditionally to the entire world, to all people with neurodegenerative diseases, to know that there is help out there. You just need to open your heart, open your mind, and come out of the victimhood, the space of being stuck and being helpless. Because we are souls in the body having an experience, and we can make this experience great no matter what happens in the outer world.
Yes.
Thank you.
True.
Thank you, Kalpana.
Thank you. Thank you, Devi. Thank you, ACT Vidya, and everybody in the ACT Foundation. Thank you so much.